You might have heard your friends talk about it, or you've stumbled upon it on the internet, or you've seen some crazy ass pictures, and now you ask yourself the question, what the hell is LARP? Well, imagine thousands of tents, huge battlefields full of people in badass costumes. Imagine wrestling with an orc and then dancing and drinking with your friends around the bonfire until early in the morning. Or imagine being in a post-apocalyptic world where living is super hard after a nuclear fallout. And then you and your friends take your armored vehicles and drive to fight against mutants in the wastelands. That's pretty freaking badass, right? It's like playing a video game, but in real life. And I bet you have a ton of questions, but don't worry, I've got you covered. I'm going to answer the most frequently asked questions about live action roleplay. My name is Sonia, and I see you right after the intro. Let's start with the basics. LARP stands for Live Action Roleplay, and it's a hobby from hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. There are LARP events pretty much on every continent, from Australia to the USA, from Taiwan to Canada, and from Israel all the way to Sweden. I am a LARPer from Germany, and here in Central Europe we have a pretty big LARP scene and some of the biggest LARP events in the world. This hobby is all about role-playing, so yes, you can imagine it like playing a video game but in real life, or like living and being in a movie like Lord of the Rings, for example, or Mad Max, depending on the setting. And yes, there are different LARP settings. The 5 biggest LARP genres are probably medieval fantasy, post-apocalyptic, historical, vampire or horror LARP, and sci-fi. So how do you start LARP, you might ask? Well, it's actually super simple. First, you decide on a setting that excites you. Then, you search for a LARP event in your area and you buy tickets for yourself and maybe for your friends. Then, you create a character and you make or you buy a costume for it. And then you go to that LARP event and you go role-playing and having tons of fun. And now, let's have a look at the 5 most common questions that people have about live action roleplay. Number 1. Is this a hobby just for nerds? Hell no! LARPers are from all kinds of backgrounds. And yes, we have friends. And yes, we have a perfectly normal social life. And no, this is not an escape from reality. We have people that are doctors and teachers and construction workers and scientists, and we have young children and we have old veterans. Simply people from all walks of life that do this hobby because it's epic and it's freaking badass. Question number 2. How big are these events? Well, that totally depends. There are LARP events that go for 5 days straight, are organized by huge LARP event companies and have thousands of participants, like the Conquest of Mythodea or the Drachenfest in Germany every August. And then there are super small events with maybe 20 people on your local campground, organized by just a bunch of friends. And then there's everything in between. In Italy, for example, LARP gets organized by local associations, like LARP clubs, if you will. And in Scandinavia, some of the LARPs get even financed by the government because they have educational purposes. Question number 3. What kind of weapons do you use? Well, depending on the LARP setting, it could be something like this, or something like this. This is a hard foam sword, and this is an airsoft machine gun. Both look pretty realistic, right? But they're both completely safe for LARP battle. And then there's Nerf guns and buffer weapons, so you have tons of weapons to choose from. Question number 4. Can I just come and watch? Nope, sorry, you can't just watch. LARP is like an interactive theater, but without any audience. It is all about being immersed in a completely different world. We stay in character 24 hours a day, and we put a lot of effort into crafting a perfectly fictional world. So if you want to see it for yourself, don't just look at us like we're some kind of zoo. Come join us and be part of the fun. And question number 5. How much does it cost? If you're a LARP beginner, it probably makes sense to start with a simple costume. And you can totally make that, or you can buy that for under €100. Or you go completely crazy and you buy a handcrafted medieval armor for thousands of euro. I mean, sky is literally the limit when it comes to LARP costumes. By the way, if you want to see how cool LARP outfits can look like, you can check out our Instagram, because we totally upload new pictures of LARPers all around the world every week. Oh, and as for ticket prices, that totally depends as well. Because if you go to a small event on your local campground, your ticket might just be €20. But if you go to a 5-day event like Bicoline in Canada, you pay around €180. And if you treat yourself to a 4-day super luxurious Harry Potter LARP in an actual Polish castle, a ticket might be around €300. So yeah, sadly the most precise answer to the question, how expensive is LARP, is it depends. So now that I have answered all your questions about LARP, you need to do me a tiny favor and answer one little question for me, because I'm super curious. Tell me, how have you heard about LARP for the first time? Did you read about it? Has somebody told you about it, or have you just stumbled upon this video and found a weird woman with war paint in her face talking and you were like, what the hell is she doing? Or whatever it is, tell me in the comments below. It would mean the world to me, and I will make sure to answer every single one of you. Oh, and one last thing. In the next episode of LARP 101, I'm going to answer all your questions about the biggest LARP genres. Like, did you know that there was Star Wars LARP? Or that you could play a pirate on an actual ship in the ocean? No? Well then, that's a story for a different day.